Let's go to that other quarterback that did win the Super Bowl MVP. And this is one thing that you mentioned going into the game. Eagles have a little issue with pre-snap motion, guys in motion at the snap.
That's where I'm most proud of us that we came up with. Like we were the first ones there to tell everybody about that.
Refresh my memory. Why do the Eagles struggle with that?
Because they go for the kill, It's again, this is where I think, Gannon is should prove to me that he's a great coach that can think outside the box and change who he is. Because last year we were going, damn, could he be any more simpler? Could he just let every quarterback drop back and throw against the simplest coverages ever and go 28 for 32, right? That's what we talked about. That has to change. It changed, and changed in a big way. And he's, in layman's terms, or to explain it here, hey, if there's three receivers over here and three receivers to the right and one receiver to the left, he knows, hey, they have a different playbook and things they want to do. So I want to play these defenses. Oh, wait, somebody motioned to the other side, and then we have two receivers to the right and two receivers to the left. Wait, well, that's a different part of their playbook. So he wants to get, hey, defense, check to these coverages, because they're going to go to a different group of plays now, right? So he's kind of going for hey, we're going to squash you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And it's been great for the most part of the year. But he found Mr. Bye-week Andy Reid and company and their ability to break down and their ability to think outside the box, to where they saw some of these things and said, wait, we can't let them just kill us every time we do a motion or a shift or whatever. And that's where I think they noticed the things I saw on film. There's too many plays where Eagles defenders are talking to each other I'd watched throughout the year, and you'd go, wait, they're snapping the ball, and you guys are still trying to figure out how to cover this bunch set or whatever. And, of course, that came in very handy throughout the football game.
Sam Coys 10 on Twitter says to you, damn okay, Andy Reid. While it felt like in the first half the Eagles were dominating, it was all winning one-on-one matchups compared to scheme plays. The Chiefs had all kinds of answers for the Eagles defense, especially in the second half. I think that's because of Big Red. We have the numbers when the Chiefs offense was using motion versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and all three of Patrick Mahomes' touchdowns, some wide open receivers, as you just mentioned on that motion, 17-21, and the running backs had 15 carries, 80 yards for 5 yards a clip. So they gashed them.
It gave them a little bit of a advantage against a team that had the five fastest guys on the field, right? And they probably had more than that, really.
Yeah,
right?
Those are just ball carriers.
Carriers, But it just gave them a little hey, there's T.J. Edwards. He just slid a little to the left. Oh, now he's just a little late getting to that C gap, right? Whatever. It just gave them that little bit of, or it got them communicating, right? And now here, this is where, so there's a lot. This is where we got to get into the Mahomes effect, right? We talked about the Chiefs, and this is where the stats, your stats. The whole game is Mahomes. Their whole game plan is stop Mahomes. The Eagles want to rush 5 all the time. That's what they want to do. They couldn't rush 5 in this game. They were scared to, especially early on. They were like, well, damn, we can't rush 5 because it's one less guy in coverage. Or if he finds a way to sneak through one of the gaps like he did at the end of the game, now we have one less guy to rally and tackle him. So they had to change the way they played. That's the Mahomes factor. Why did the Chiefs run game work? Because they got the Eagles out of these 5-man fronts and said, no, you're going to play coverage because you're worried about Mahomes. So you're going to play. And thank God Andy Reid and Bieniemy stayed with the run. They don't always do that. That was the adjustment they made in the second half. Here's the other Mahomes factor. The Eagles, right, who got away with holding in this game more than just the last play where they didn't get away with. There was a few plays. But we saw the Chiefs' first drive, right down the field, score, right? Second drive, right down the field. You know what happened after those 2 drives? The Eagles said, we can't play zone again for the rest of the game because he's just going to pick us apart. We can't quite get around him quick enough. He's moving, getting the ball out of his hands. And literally, I would bet you after that first 2 drives, there was only a handful of snaps of zone the rest of the game because they just went, he's gonna pick us apart. Right? And so those are the Mahomes factor, let alone third down completion to Travis Kelce in the third quarter. I mean, he's being hit in the head, grabbed on the shoulder, hit in the head again, throws it sidearm as he's an inch off the ground, first down. Few plays later, pressure, run to the right, no-look in cut to Noah Gray, first down, right? So the stats, don't look at the stats. The moments, the plays, the second half, Mahomes was flawless. And like I told you, other than the Marquez Valdez-Scantling fade down the left sideline from the slot, where Greg Olsen was good, he pointed out, like, hey, I think he should have got wider. He should have got wider, but I would have said, and I think he probably would have said, he watches the film, and he goes, I had Smith-Schuster underneath for like the 12-yard out. I should have thrown that. I got greedy there.
Yeah.
That was 2020 Super Bowl Bucks Mahomes right there, going greedy, going, I'm getting impatient. I want the play, right? So that was literally the only negative play of the football game. There was no other play that you could have looked at and go, oh, he should have hit this. He should have read that. This guy was open. There was no throw that you could have gone, oh, if he just threw this a little bit better, he would have had that. He, for what was presented to him, almost played perfect. And that's, again, why he's the MVP. And don't always look at stats, everybody. I know he got 2 easy touchdown passes. I get it. They were wide the freak open. Okay. Yeah, it was good game planning, whatever. Okay. Again, though, these things are what they are because also of him and the offense they run, and they send these people all over the place and throw it deep and he's got a quick release and sidearm and all that. So that's what you're worried about stopping. And that's where the Eagles overplayed their hand and the Chiefs had a few curveballs for him.
Pete says in my ear, a couple homies disagree because I guess we haven't got you riled up enough on this podcast. We'll see if we really can do it now. Respectfully disagree, he says. Hussein A.J. Roush 4, and they're not responding to you because these tweets already were written.
Yeah.
He goes, Mahomes never had one contested or tight window, all wide open.
I don't know about that.
There were some wide open.
There was some wide open, sure. Kelsey's early in the game, like I said, those were the zone coverages and that stuff where it was just like, yeah, he was going to tear that apart, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There
weren't a whole lot of tight window throws for either quarterback in this game.
I can't say there was a ton. You're right, But see, this is to where when Mahomes, the ability and the pace on the football makes it look like that. Like he throws a 6-yard out route at the end of the game on the last drive. You might remember all the way. He's on the left hash. He throws it to the right sideline, right? I remember during the game I was going, because I'm like, that's a long throw, and these guys are good at corner, and they right?
Yeah.
But he throws the ball 105 miles per hour. Like on film, the camera can't keep up with the ball. It loses the ball for a minute. So now it's like, oh, Juju's got the ball and he's running upfield, right? They couldn't even stay with it. So when people look at stuff like that, you got to take that into account a little bit as well. I mean, Kelsey was not wide open on his first touchdown on the 18-yard pass, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What happened there?
They ran again. Knowing the Eagles are going to go for the kill, they made it look like, hey, we're going to run our normal Kelsey option route, and he's going to come up and break out at 5 yards, and we're going to hit him, and we're going to first down. That's what we do all year. They knew the Eagles would be all over it. So he faked that little option route and turned up the sideline. Epps slipped just a little bit, and that created the separation. I would say that was not wide open.
No.
But, hey, he threw a ball on the left sideline to Juju Smith-Schuster where he faked the little screen and then threw it up there. Well, yeah, it's good play design. But his ability, to step on the gas pedal and rifle those balls in there.
Right.
Or like I said, getting tackled, getting hit in the head twice, throwing the ball to Travis Kelce on a third down, or 2 plays later, again, having to squeeze through the pocket and then throw the ball on a 14-yard in cut versus man-to-man coverage and just make it look like it's nothing. Like you're not doing justice to the guy and what he's doing on the football field.
Yeah.
But yes, was this the game where he threw the most tight window throws I've ever seen him make? No, absolutely not. I understand that, but I don't think that's totally right what we're saying there.
Yeah, some of the time you throw it a little slower or later, it is going to be a tight window throw, but you don't want that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Again, there's other quarterbacks that make those throws, and a viewer would have gone, well, that was tight. And I want to go, No, not for a strong arm quarterback.
been. Yeah.
He gave him the extra second to make it look open and now make a play after the catch.
Per your earlier point here,
Right.
per Next Gen Stats, the Eagles played man coverage on a season high 55% of pass plays in the Super Bowl. It started maybe right around the third drive.
Say that again.
55% of pass plays they played man coverage season high.
Yeah,
for the
okay.
Eagles this season.
Right.
Started maybe the third drive.
I was going to say, then those if you take those first two drives away, I bet you that percentage is much higher. Right.
More.
Right.
You noted a blatant hold on Bradbury on Juju on the third drive of the game. So for those wondering, it's like if it's a penalty in the fourth quarter, it should be a penalty in the first quarter. It's not that you don't think they should have called it late in the game. You probably think they should have probably also called it early in the game.
Right. Well, we had
drive.
the 3 and out, I think, when the game was it 14-all or 21-14? He's got Juju Smith-Schuster going across the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of those.
It was 14. It was 14-7.
Oh, it was
Eagles
14-7.
at that point.
So that was that one. That's what it was. That one. So it was 14-7. Right. And he's got pressure in his face. And to me, looks like he throws the ball right on the money. But as Juju Smith-Schuster is coming out of his break on the under route, he gets totally grabbed and spinned. But they didn't call it. And again, he didn't complain. He kind of like after the ball hit the ground, he turned around at the route. So it was like, throw the flag.
Yeah.
But that was it, and they ran off the field. But, yeah, that was certainly a moment. There was another curl route or two where I went, I think Mahomes wants to throw to this guy, but he's being pulled out of his curl route.
Yeah.
But
again, to those people that say you could call that every play, that was definitely not true.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not fair. It's not. And, and again, I understand people are going to sit there and look at this and go, yeah, it's an underwhelming statistical performance to win the Super Bowl. Or win the Super Bowl MVP. I don't disagree with that. I don't. We've had worse Super Bowl performances win an MVP. And what I would also say to that again is, one, I don't think there's anybody like if Kadarius Toney got one more touchdown, maybe he gets the MVP. If Nick Bolton had one other big-time play.
Yeah, one more touchdown return.
Or whatever. Maybe a big sack and a big moment or just an interception. Maybe he does get it.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And what, again, I'm trying to say is one guy was the quarterback of the lesser team, and that team played all to stop him. And they had a 10-point lead, and they lost.
Well, let me go to the first drive.
And that's where I see like Darrow Bachter to be a guy that we can't say his name. Right.
Yeah. He wanted to give it to maybe an offensive line member.
I hear you.
There
were some good things.
I wanted to give it to Andy Reid. I thought he'd called up, designed some good plays, although
he did.
It's got to go to a player, says Pete.
Yeah.
We can't break the rules at this point. But
Right.
why not, right? Well, rules are meant to be broken, right? We do it all the time. Chad Henne maybe wants to give it to Coach Eric Bieniemy. Did you see this?
No.
This was on them using motion versus the Eagles. They're down by the goal line.
Right.
Chad Henne after the game said, Coach Bieniemy put it on tape and said, hey, if they do this guy's wide open. It's man coverage. They're just trying to protect themselves from the jet sweep, trying to bubble over the top and get an extra player on the other side of the field. But we faked the jet twice, and they did not figure it out.
See, they use something that we talk about all the time, right? Checks and balances, basically. Or, like you said on Monday, they know that we know that we know, right? So, and this is something that, again, them and McVay they're the inventors of the jet sweep and the speed sweep or the little shovel passes the guy flies around, and goes on the reverse, whatever. So that's been a part of their offense. So the Eagles are studying that. They were ready for it. But they knew they'd be ready for it, just like that Kelsey 5-yard out and up for the first touchdown. And, so they used really one of the Eagles' great strengths against them. It was like they used it, it was the little gift and the curse that way. And that was pretty awesome. And then, hey, to the O-line point, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it right. Reid, Bieniemy, great job even staying patience with the run. Knowing, we got to do this. We're not going to win the game unless we do this.
Well, that stuck out to you.
Yeah.
First drive of the second half.
Yes.
Got to have a drive. You're down 10. You can't punt on this one. You got to get some points, at least a field goal.
Right.
And do you put the game on Pat's shoulder? No, they really stuck with the run game early in that drive.
They did. Because they just went, wait, if they're going to play these two deep defenses and just play pass, right? The Mahomes factor, again, he went, okay, I got some old linemen here that can move some people. We're going to run it. And, yeah, some of the biggest plays of that drive were the run game. And then, like we talked about, the third down, hit in the head, throw to Kelsey, the scramble outside the pocket, throw it. That was also the scramble, right? You know, again, Jalen Hurts ran the ball great. Gosh, biggest run of the game was the run of the game at the end of the game by number 15. I'd just like to explain that to everybody. And that was another big run to get them down to the 4 or 5 yard line.
And even before that, you thought Patrick was moving very well in the pocket to avoid some of that rush.
There was a little more pressure on him than I thought watching back on TV.
Interesting, okay.
Where, again, it wasn't like, oh, my gosh, the roof's collapsing.
They did credit Hassan Reddick with 7 pressures. PFF
there was more than you think. The grass hurt the Eagles more than it did the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It did.
Why was that?
They're the 4 of your 5 carriers. They're the faster team. They were the more explosive team.
Yeah.
So if the Eagles want to blame on any conspiracies, blame the NFL. Maybe they made the grass to slow them down, make the game more even.
They were the most vocal too after that. I mean, both teams were vocal about it, but Hassan Reddick was definitely vocal.
There's a few plays where you go, ooh, Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. They're close to turning the corner and making this very interesting for Mahomes, but then they slip and fall. Right? So that stunk for them. That did. But, yes, that was one thing that jumped out a little bit watching the game. Still a great game by that offensive line and all of that. But he made a few more plays and throws and moves under pressure than I remembered. And but, yeah, the running game and those they beat Hargrave and Jordan Davis a lot when it came to the running game. When they ran up the middle, man, they moved those two. And that was impressive. It really was.
Let's do a tip of the cap to one player on that Eagles defense, though, that stuck out to you.
Yeah.
TJ Edwards.
Yeah. I think he's one of the more underrated linebackers in football. I think he's going to get a payday to somebody. We just showed him on the free agent list, right?
Yeah.
He's going to get a payday from somebody where I think people are going to go, whoa, I can't believe he's making that kind of money. And I'm going to be like, well, kind of got overshadowed by the rest of the stars on their football team. To me, he's like the perfect modern-day linebacker. He's a lot like a Nick Bolton, maybe not quite as stout and as good of a run game tackler as Bolton, but the guy that everybody kind of wants at linebacker in the NFL because he's good in the run game, he's good sideline to sideline, he's really good in the pass game, right? And that's where, he might be one of those guys that they might have a hard time keeping. I wouldn't be shocked. We'll see where that goes.
Let me explore one more thing here on the Chiefs offense. And maybe you've already covered this, but hammer it home a little bit more. You said in your notes the Chiefs just didn't call plays. They attacked rules.
They did.
Could you expand on that?
Well, we've had our years of talking to the Chiefs and going, sometimes they just say, you run deep, you cross the formation, and 15 will figure it out. There'll be a window somewhere for him to throw the ball. It's a good play. It works, right? But that's also what leads sometimes to them having some stale moments because then there's no exact attacking, oh, wait, this team's playing this way today, and it kind of stops those post-crosser combinations and all that.
Right.
So what are we going to do to attack this coverage today? And I thought there was more of that really the whole year from the Chiefs, but maybe more of that in this game, and specifically, again, to, I think, the 2 touchdowns we talked about.
Yep, the Kelsey, the pattern with Kelsey.
The Kelsey,
the touchdown.
The Kelsey pattern, even early in the game. The first Kelsey big, it was the second big Kelsey catch, right? The first one was the deep crosser. The second one was fake, hey, you're going to run that deep cross again. And then he put on the brakes and came back out, right? So that's where, because they called that play going, hey, they're ready for him to cross. Now, they saw it, and even on the first one, they were kind of ready for it. They were just a little late to react. So this one, they went, hey, here it is again. Look, it's the same play. Boom, back out. The Eagles rules. So, there was a little bit more of that. And even in the running game, where there was just hey, they didn't just call and run this play. This is specific because they felt like they knew what was coming here from the Eagles defense.
I don't know how I'm not going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl next year.
Well, that's where they're
young defense,
right?
Good offense. Patrick Mahomes. You got a full year of Kadarius Toney if he can stay healthy.
Young guys getting older.
Pacheco.
And they have a magic of just getting it done. I mean, again, that's where I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
And keeping that coaching staff together,
yes,
too. And that is not the case for the Eagles.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.